Lean in, my friends. Lean in. Let's oil up, set our intentions. I'm going to tap into a special place for yourself right now because when you do that, you are going to hear what I have to say from a completely different perspective. Okay? Completely different perspective. And that's what I want for you. I want you to realize that you get to attract everything and anything into your world. So, what's that going to be? Do you want to attract more of the same? Then keep thinking the same way. Do you want to attract in everything that you want in your life? Then do that too. We've chatted a lot about psycho-cybernetics, and if you kind of missed out on that one, go back and listen to it because that was such an incredible conversation. Ultimately, what it means is that we're programmed at a super young age, and then we kind of go on autopilot for the rest of our lives. But because we have this cybernetic mechanism into us, just like an airplane, just like the thermometer in my house, just like a rocket ship that feels its way to the moon, we have one built inside of us, and it's called our image. And it's constantly going to pull you back, constantly. Okay? And I love part of this poem by James Allen. And it says, mind is the master power that molds and makes, and man is mind, and evermore he takes. The tool of thought and the shaping what he wills brings forth 1,000 joys and 1,000 ills. He thinks in secret and it comes to pass. Environment is but his looking glass. You attract everything into your life. 1,000 joys and 1,000 ills. But know that those, however many thousand, are there happening for you. Your environment is but your looking glass. Your environment is a reflection of you, everything you have. It reflects in your job. It reflects in your bank account. It reflects in your relationships. It reflects in how you express yourself in the world. Everything. No blaming. Everybody's just doing the best they can with their current level of awareness. But everything in your environment is a reflection of what's happening inside. And we have different mechanisms. You have a success mechanism. Right? And if you really think about it, like everyone has different visions and values when it comes to success. And in the book, Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz, he writes about the sum of these factors. One is a sense of direction. And Albert Einstein actually once said, people are like bicycles. They can keep balance only as long as they keep moving. We're always looking for new accomplishments, always driven by desire of achieving and becoming something more than we currently are having. That's why having goals and dreams is kind of the prerequisite to making anything happen. We also need comprehension. Being able to communicate what we want, understanding that our problems and the things that we want When all of these things are talked about and emphasized with all of the feeling and all of the emotions, even if we're admitting our mistakes and finding ways to correct them, these are all really great social skills that you want to possess. What does yours look like? Because remember, your environment is your looking glass. He talks about another success factor is courage. Every problem seems smaller if it's faced promptly. So don't be afraid to take on new and scary challenges, as they're only going to make you stronger, regardless of whether you achieve them or not. But taking the leap, having the courage to take the leap, this is defining. What does your life look like in terms of charity? Successful people always take into consideration the benefit of others because they know that everyone comes from the exact same universal spirit, God energy. And a unique individual, every single person deserves dignity and respect. So one way to be respectful is to really avoid any hate or angst that you have towards others. This means sometimes even being impartial in judgments and taking time to stop and consider other people's feelings and emotions and necessities. How do you do with that? Do you do that in your interactions? Maxwell Maltz also talks about esteem. Guys, doubting yourself is truly the poison that jeopardizes your well-being, your relationships. Remember, you are a divine creation. Like, did you ever actually think about that? You are a divine creation. You might just think, oh, well, my mom and dad did this and this is how. No. There was a lot of vibrational matchups that had to happen to get you here. Because we are all energy. It's science. Can't make it up if I tried. So do yourself a favor and stop considering yourself a loser or a victim. Because it is crazy cool that you are here right now. And how's your self-confidence? Confidence is built on success. And if you're able to remember past successes in your life, which everybody has them, by the way, every single person has them. Every single person. And sometimes you need to borrow the belief from those past experiences in order to create new ones. But it doesn't matter how many times you failed in the past. What matters is how many times you tried to be successful at something. How many times you got up and did it again. Thomas Edison said, I have not failed 10,000 times. I've not failed once. I've succeeded in proving that those 10,000 ways won't work. Nobody talks about his 10,000 failures because it doesn't matter. Fact, he got up and kept going. And there's a reason why some of these brilliant inventors are the inventors of a ton of different things. It's not a coincidence. What does that look like for you? And the last success mechanism that he talks about is self-assurance. This all comes back to creating a more accurate image of your own self. And this doesn't mean trying to be somebody else, but rather accepting yourself as who you are, as imperfect, always changing, worthy. Because no one's perfect. So expecting perfection out of everything you do, like you're just fooling yourself, kind of setting yourself up for failure. Right? And just like success mechanisms, I love, love, love this book because he also talks about failure mechanisms. These are represented by all the different symptoms which have to be avoided if we are to live a fulfilling and positive life. And again, because your environment is a direct reflection of you, what do yours look like? He talks about frustration. Guys, disappointments are going to happen. They're going to come. It's inevitable. How do you embrace them without beating up on yourself? It's only when we let a temporary failure define our emotional state for too long that then you go into victim mode. And guys, up until yesterday, I was brilliant at playing the victim. And it doesn't have to look this way. Are you aggressive? This will also set you up for failure. And I'm not talking about aggressive as in strong personality. There's a difference. Can you tell I want to make sure that I'm telling myself that I'm not an aggressive person in a bad way? It's misdirected aggressiveness. Right? There's a difference between positive aggressiveness, which is like determination and like fearlessness and allows you to like be persistent in your goals. And then there's negative aggressiveness. And that's the one I'm talking about. And this looks like frustration. And that frustration will never lead to positive outcomes, ever. It puts you in a negative vibration and it's not going to get you where you want to go. Insecurity, another one. It always refers to your present thoughts of not being enough. So if you suffer from not enoughness, I want you to come up with an affirmation that reminds you that you are enough and that it is freaking brilliant that you are here right now. So good. But if you live in a space of insecurity, you're always going to be in comparison. You're not going to be as good looking as that person or have enough money or not healthy enough. And there's never going to be enough. You're never going to be enough to do anything. I'm not pretty enough to do this, ... I'm not healthy enough to even start an exercise routine. I don't have enough money to quit the job that I hate and go do the thing that I actually love. There's always not going to be enough, always. Next is loneliness. And each one of us gets or feels lonely at some times, but we shouldn't be lonely on purpose. Okay? And I hear from people, but I'm an introvert. Right, but you're still a human. And as humans, we are meant to be with other humans, regardless of where you get your energy from. A life lived with others is by far one of the greatest pleasures that we have. Mingling with people can make us more interesting, less anxious. It is also such a cool opportunity to understand other humans, to understand how you can show up and serve. Understanding other people's perspective. Another failure mechanism that I want you to pay attention to is uncertainty. And this really goes back to being afraid of making mistakes. And if you've grown up with a perfectionist mindset, that's why making a mistake literally feels like life or death. But if you're one of those people, just remember that making mistakes and adjusting course, that's what life is all about. If you never make mistakes, that means that you're not even trying to do something worth doing. You're constantly playing it safe and you're bored AF. Period. You're bored. You're going to tell yourself you're not bored. You're bored. It may sound like a really comfortable position to be in the early stages of it, but it'll all come back and it will be a very painful regret that for the most part, people realize at the end of their life, and then they don't really have time to change the situation. So if you hear me right now, I'm shaking you. Wake up! Wake up! Same with resentment. Okay, there are no justified resentments. Beside being the worst company that one can have for those around you, if you are constantly bitter and just full of grief towards others, or you live in victim mode, playing the blame game all the time, not realizing that you're attracting in everything into your life, it has nothing to do with anything outside of you. Remember, your environment is but your looking glass. Resentment comes from within. And it's just a result of our reaction to something that happens outside of us. So if you feel like the world owes you something, more often than not, you'll be left with empty hands. And that will then feed resentment. And it's just going to be this never-ending cycle. Expecting something from others is never the answer to a satisfying life. Finding joy in yourself through personal discovery and development is where it's at. Gratitude kicks all of those over every single time. You have to disinhibit yourself. Okay? Personality is a trait that defines us. and can do so in a very strong way or a very weak way. And while a strong personality kind of can resemble someone that, is without inhibitions, one that is able to express their real selves, a weak one is usually afraid to express themselves. And again, there's like a number of different reasons that this can happen. But it usually stems from places like shame, anger, shyness, irritability. But it's important for all of us to realize that negative reactions are useful for correcting our aim, for putting us on the right path, for setting us back up with our target. We need to then focus on our goal, adjust our focus, and just try again. The need for disinhibition is really clear. And Maxwell Maltz really points this out. He writes that what the most inhibited of those people need is just a bit of disinhibition practice, which consists of a number of different things that they wouldn't normally do. They behave like their normal selves. And I was reading U Squared this morning, and I read Open Your Gifts. It's a chapter, and it says, you have many gifts that you've never opened. These are gifts of talent, ability, and reach that are yours for the taking. The people we call gifted are different from the crowd in one very special way. They've accepted their gifts. They let it happen. The high achievers, the persons you admire, are those individuals who open up their gifts. These winners have more gifts because they claimed them. They took them out of the wrapping and they used them. Now it's time for you to do something with your gifts. Claim them and create them. You created them. You attracted them. Reach for them and they materialize. Use them and they grow to serve you still better. If you're looking at those particular gifts you have developed over the years, the talents that you have exhibited, you will find that they are gifts you opened and enjoyed. But how many other gifts are there within your reach? For every gift you've opened over the years, there are hundreds that you've never unwrapped and taken out of the package. This unused potential hides there, just waiting to play a role in your quantum leap. When you make a quantum leap, you find out many new things about yourself. U Squared is a fascinating experience in self-discovery. A transformation occurs, a metamorphosis. Think of a striped caterpillar humbly crawling along the stem of a milkweed plant a few inches from Mother Earth, changing into a strikingly beautiful monarch butterfly that soars high in the air and bravely journeys thousands of miles in its pilgrimage. To become a monarch, to free those shining auburn wings, to fly high and free, the creature must break out of the cocoon and safely and opens its gifts. So, what have you attracted in? When you look at the mirror that is your life, what do you see? Do you see one that is full of success mechanisms? Do you see one that is full of failure mechanisms? But your mind is a valuable asset. And every single outside effect has an inner cause. Every effect you see in your outside of in your 3D physical world has a specific cause, which started in your mental world. And this is the essence of thought power. The conditions and circumstances in your life are a result of your thinking, of your overall mental state. And James Allen in As a Man Thinketh, he also says, circumstances do not make the man, they reveal him. The state of your life, from the state of your finances, your health, your relationships, your work, is revealing what you think in each area. But thought power is an inside job. It's not going to come with getting more letters at the end of your name. Because we know lots of people that have lots of letters at the end of their name and aren't doing anything of consequence at all. Probably not even working in a field that they want to. A lot of them, a ton of them. Most people have it kind of back to front, believing that they feel or think in a certain way because of their circumstances. But the truth is that their thoughts, that they're thinking, that are actually creating those very circumstances, whether they're wanted or unwanted. But by internalizing and applying the truth, their thoughts have created their reality. When you will grant yourself the power to create the change you want to see, and you can manifest this in your life. Reality creation is an inside job, and it's fueled by the power of your thoughts. So where are your thoughts coming from? Are you following the other followers? Right? Let's not follow the masses. Really, like, if you ever wondered what differentiates winners from the rest of everybody else, so many people have studied this, scientists, psychologists, and they've identified one prime cause of success and failure in life, and that is a person's self-image. If you're wondering what your self-image is, it's not difficult to find. Just look at all the aspects of your life. Take a look at your results that you're getting, your relationships, your income, the position you hold at work, your personal appearance, even. Even despite that yo-yo diet you might have been on. Everything on the outside is an expression of the inside. And one of the biggest mistakes that people make is attempting to change things on the outside of themselves without changing the inside. And I hear this all the time, regardless of which one of my businesses I'm in. Dylan, I want to make $1 million. I just want to even make $100,000. Right. Well, if your self-image matches $50,000, go ahead. Bust your ass. Try to earn $100,000. That's not the way it works. You aren't even thinking thoughts of a $100,000 person. You're thinking thoughts of a $50,000 person. That's why you make $50,000. To remake your life, you must build a winner's self-image. And as soon as you start to alter the image, everything outside will begin to change. Okay? First, you have to decide what you want and visualize. Take 10, 20 minutes, a couple times a day, to visualize yourself with the things that you'd like to be, do, and have. Allow yourself to completely relax so you can feel what you want in your cells, in your bones. Live it, breathe it. Make sure you also write it down. Burn the images of what you want to live in your mind and write them down in just all the detail. After you've created the written description, this is where you can have deeper visualizations. And you actually know where you're going. Take where you currently are and where you want to go, and you know the gap. But once you've made the comparison, this is when you'll see the changes that have to be made. And you can begin making those changes one at a time. But knowing more, it's not enough. It's not enough to know more. You have deep-rooted beliefs that need flipping. Go inside and take a really close look at your beliefs. And during the transition period, when you're in the process of implanting your winner's image into your subconscious, you'll actually kind of perceive two people, the old you and the new you. Every time you see yourself as a failure or lacking in some way, you're going to shift your focus to the winner you. This is what we do when we study every day. Every day. You have to commit. You have to decide every day that this is something that you are going to do. And see, we live in a society, like we don't learn this in school. We live in a society that says, oh, you read the book? Congratulations. Oh, you want to take a test on the book? Okay, just regurgitate the information, word for word, A+, next. And again, I was the person that wanted, I'm an excellent regurgitator. Sounds really gross, but I'm an excellent regurgitator. I can absolutely regurgitate any information that you give me. But it doesn't mean I understand it. It doesn't mean I'm doing anything with it. This is why studying and being exposed to things like thinking into results was an absolute game changer for me. Absolute game changer. And what made me take the jump and make the investment in myself was recognizing that my outside environment was a direct reflection of me. And there was no amount of blaming other people or circumstances. Oh, it's my husband's fault. Oh, it's the government's fault. Oh, it's the womp. No. You want something different, you have to do something different. Remember, mind is the master power that molds and makes. And man is mind and evermore he takes. The tool of thought and the shaping that he wills brings forth 1,000 joys and 1,000 ills. He thinks in secret and it comes to pass. Environment is but his looking glass. Every single time. Once you